when we have an opportunity to be here in this way together, it's important to value that time and see what it is in our lives that isn't working quite right, and use our practice as a way to adjust that. So one of the themes that I think comes up at a time when you're going through a lot of change, which is global right now, we're going through a time of radical change in the world, in our personal lives, and out in the social and political climates. And one of the things that that brings up is the need to adjust to, right, to get used to the changes that are happening in our lives. And what comes up, because we all know that the only constant in life is change, but change can be really difficult. It can be challenging. It's not so easy to go through change, especially when it's very extreme or something that's unexpected, right? Because we have to pivot and find new ways of living, a new lifestyle, new habits, etc. And that can trigger a lot for all of us. And one of the things that happens when we go through change, especially when it's unexpected, is that we have difficulty adjusting, and that can cause a resistance to change. And resistance to change arises when we are not able to properly pivot and make the adjustments necessary. And so you can use your practice to help you in this way. And in Chinese medicine, this is really a phenomenon that arises when there's resistance to change, and we call this wind. And wind is a yang phenomenon, meaning it has more of an active response. It's more related to heat, and it also rises up. So wind phenomena show up in the body physically as tingling and numbness and neuropathy, or like sciatic pain, pain that moves in your body. But in the mind, it can also show up as confusion, a lack of clarity, dizziness, vertigo, tinnitus, ringing in the ears. So all of those are responses known as wind. Those are the symptoms of wind according to Chinese medicine. And wind manifests as a resistance to change. So when you're going through a period of extreme change in your life, it's no wonder that these symptoms may arise more frequently. Now, one of the best ways to resolve this, or to begin to give you tools to help you move through this change, is to work more with balancing in your internal body. So balancing helps to harmonize the right and left hemispheres of your brain, which actually helps you get into a greater flow state with everything you do. So whether it's that you want to work on a project, or you're trying to do something creative, or something that requires a lot of mental focus, doing more balance type activity in your practice helps to create more balance in every aspect of your life. And the thing to really remember is your practice is not just a practice to do for changing yourself physically, to becoming healthier, to becoming, more fit, etc. Those are all important, but your practice really is a tool to help change every aspect of your life. And the way that this happens is when you make this practice a daily practice. Now, we meet here about once a week, right? Or I offer a series of classes for you. But what I really intend to have you do with these classes is integrate them into your daily life. So even if you don't do the full practice when you're at home, try to do a little bit every day, because that rhythm creates a resonance. And that resonance is ultimately what creates a bigger impact and makes a greater change in your everyday life. So when we work with balance, it's all about coordination, focus, which ultimately brings clarity. So balance brings you out of that state of wind or confusion or resistance to change, helps you stay more focused and clear so that you can adapt to change and live with more clarity and ease. Live in more of that flow state. So let's start with a few practices that'll help you in that way. We'll start just by creating a comfortable standing position. And the other thing that's really important about balancing is that most of us spend most of our life living up here, right? We're in our minds. And balance and practice in general, but especially when you're doing more balancing, focused postures and movements, what it does is it builds body awareness. It helps to anchor you into your physical state. It helps to make you more embodied, so that you're way more present with whatever you're doing in your life. So just beginning to feel first as you close your eyes. You're going to stand about shoulder width apart with the feet. The feet are parallel, so the toes turn in a little bit. Shoulders relaxed. You're nice and hollow under the arms, so there's spaciousness. And then you just take a few deep breaths as you settle in to your physical body. A lot of times we don't even realize that we're not here, that we're disembodied, because we spend so much of our time thinking, processing. But just taking a few deep breaths and settling in makes all the difference to bring you fully into the here and now. Relax your forehead, your eyes, and just feel into the status of your physical body from your head to your toes, out through your fingertips. Feel the energy or chi circulating top to bottom, front to back. And feel the groundedness through the soles of your feet as the crown of your head lifts up. Allow your tongue to rest softly on the top palate of your mouth and let your jaw be soft, the neck soft. Notice your body sway forward and back, side to side, as it attempts to find a point of stillness, of balance. Take a breath and become aware of your emotional state as you enter this practice. Take a breath there and become aware of the mind, the thought patterns. Sometimes when you come to your practice, the mind is very still, and at other times it races, or it jumps like a monkey from branch to branch, from one thought to another. Just be present with what you're experiencing right now. Take another deep breath, and then invite awareness to the environment in which you're standing right now. Hearing the sounds, noticing the smells, the sensations. And take another deep breath there. And with this full body awareness, stay grounded as you slowly open your eyes. Just gaze a couple of feet in front of you at first. And when you're ready, you can lift your gaze and look beyond. And we'll just start to gently move the body. So just start by just shaking the arms, shaking the legs, the shoulders, the hips. Just start moving everything. And then drop and lift your heels. Maybe breathe in through the nose, out through your mouth. Good. Breathe and breathe. And just start to move a little more. Shake a little bit more. Let everything be nice and loose. Legs, arms, the whole body. And now what I want you to do is start shaking your wrists. And as you shake your wrists, let them be really, really loose. So These are really important points. Your ankles and wrists are very important points because they're kind of move you into the entry and exit points of the hands and the feet. So keep shaking into the fingertips and the toes, where we call those points Jing Well points. And Jing Well points are known as entry and exit points of qi, or energy. So when the wrists and ankles are tight, then this energy can't travel all the way into the digits, into the fingers and toes. And then qi gets stuck and trapped, and then you start to have pain in the shoulders and the neck and the hips and the knees. So it's really important to keep the ankles and the wrists very free. So you can also shake out your feet, loosen up the ankles. So now from here, start to go up and down with the hands. And make sure you're still breathing. Nice and deep inhales and exhales. Now we'll start to already work a little bit with our coordination. So I want you to take one hand and go up and down, and then take the other hand and go out. Good. And just work slowly. This all comes with practice. It won't come right away. So you can go as slowly as you need if it's too much to go fast, and then switch. And then switch. And switch. And switch. Keep switching. Good. And then take your arms out to the sides. Now we're going to work a little bit deeper into the wrist. So I want you to interlace your fingers and bring the elbows together. And we're going to do a rotational movement. So your shoulders should be forward so the upper back stays nice and broad. And you're going to just start turning the hands. And notice how I'm doing it evenly. I'm not letting the hands flop side to side. It's a circular movement with the wrists. And as you do this, I want you to step back with one foot and start to roll over the ankle. So I'm bringing my top of the foot into the floor and then rolling the ankle. So go in one direction like this. So rolling over the ankle and turning the wrist. And then go the other direction. Same thing. So working with your coordination, just keep your focus on the movement. You don't have to do it perfectly. It's more about keeping your attention on what you're doing. That's important. And breathe. Always taking full deep inhales and exhales. Good. And now what we're going to do is we're going to change the movement of the wrists a little bit. So now instead of having your wrists and elbows touch, I want you to loosen this up. So now go side to side. Feel the stretch. Right as I come forward, I can feel my forearms stretch, and then getting into the wrist. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn. So I'm going this would be one direction when I come forward, and this would be the other direction when I go back. So start by going forward, and we're going to change the foot. So put the other foot back, and as you roll the ankle, roll your wrist. Good. And then reverse. Roll the ankle. So your hip is going to be level with the knee. The ankle or the foot goes back. And you're just going to turn slowly at first and then more quickly. Letting the wrists and ankles open up. Good. And then shake that all out. And with balancing and doing coordination, you have to also shake out the frustration that comes with each movement. Good. And then let's place the hands on the hips. We'll just do a quick warm-up starting with the neck. You're going to place your hands right over the hips and lift your shoulders slightly up towards your ears. Go side to side, and as you go side to side, lift the shoulder and move the ear in that same direction. Your feet are still about shoulder width apart, side to side. Side to side. Good. Breathe. Inhale and exhale. And go as slowly or as quickly as you need. Just make sure that everything you do is coordinated with breath. Now, it's not that you have to take inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. You can do a long inhale, pause, Long exhale, pause, good. And then we're going to start to go forward and back. So as your shoulders go forward, your neck is going to pull back. And as your neck pulls forward, so you're really trying to stretch underneath the chin in this area, you go forward. So back and forward. Breathe. So shoulders and neck moving, but in opposite directions. Breathe. Good. Now we're going to coordinate these movements. We're going to bring them all together. So you're going to go side, forward, side, back. Rotate, rotate. Stretch underneath the neck. Rotate, rotate. So remember that part that starts to sag as we get older? It's important to keep the muscles under the neck or under the chin also engaged and stretching. Good. And then reverse. Breathe. Good. And then drop the shoulders. We're going to go right into the shoulder joints. Forward, up, back, and down. So everything requires a little bit of coordination. Forward, up, back, and down. And you can keep going this slowly, but if you want to go more quickly, you can start to create more of a circular motion. And as you do this, what's also important is that you start to wave your spine. So now you're starting to kind of massage the entire spinal column with this movement. Taking nice deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then release and reverse. So now we're going to go back, up, forward, and down. And notice my hands are just brushing gently against my body. It's my shoulders that do the work, not the hands. Back, up, forward, and down. So you want to make sure you're avoiding this, right? Not lifting. Hands are just brushing the sides of the legs. Big circular movement with the shoulders. Almost exaggerate the movement and start to move so you get more of the spine involved too. Good. Work right into the core. Good. Now we're going to build a little bit more coordination into the shoulder movements by bringing one forward and one back. So you'll lift both shoulders. Either one can come forward, the other one goes back and down. Back to position, now switch. One forward, one back, up, forward, and down. So I'm doing the same movement I was doing before, but now one shoulder goes forward, the other shoulder goes back. And you can do it really slowly. Remember, you don't have to go quickly. Again, watch my hands. Nice and soft, brushing against the body, no bend in the elbows. Breathe. Good, and then reverse. So now whatever shoulder is going forward is going to go back, and the other one's going to go forward. And you're kind of pumping. Notice how I'm lifting and dropping a little bit in the legs, right? But the arms are relaxed, arms are free. The movement is in the shoulders, a little bit through the torso. Good, and then slow that down. Start to brush the sides of your body. So without shifting your hips, you're just keeping the hips level and just brushing up and down. Up and down. Create length, spaciousness. This length is going to be really useful as we go into more balancing. So you want to create space in the torso. Open the rib cage. Free the diaphragm so you can breathe deeply. Breathe. Very nice. And then slow that down. And now what you're going to do is bring your hands together. And you're just going to separate them. So take one hand on top. So if your left hand is on top, you're just going to bring it down and around. down, and around. And the other hand, the right hand is going to go up and around, right? So they meet. So you're going to do this a few times. And as you get used to this movement, you're going to start to sway your hips a little bit. And as you sway your hips, right, so even more coordination, you're going to start making bigger circles with the arms. Till eventually, you're swaying your arms, or swinging your arms and swaying your hips, right? And the hands meet at the front. They kind of slap at the front. Go slow. You could just start here, right? Once you get it down, the movement gets bigger. So coordinating hips, arms, shoulders. Stay loose in your upper body. Good. Then slow that down. Shake it out. And do the opposite. Now the opposite arm is going to be on top. So your right hand on top, left hand underneath. This hand is going to go up, and this hand is going to come down. So it's like a sweeping motion. Right? Just a small circle. Small circle. Just focus on this at first if your coordination is already pretty there. And if you practice this daily, you'll see huge changes just over a week. So you start here and start moving your hips a little. And then make the movement larger. So you have an even bigger movement. Breathe. Good. Be gentle with yourself. Good. Slow that down. You can take the movement, make it a little smaller, and release. And let's just shake it out. Again, get all that frustration out. That's something you can practice. Look back to this video and just keep practicing that movement every day. Good, and then let's go into the hips just a little, opening them up, and then bigger circles. So when you're doing a warm-up, you want to focus on lubricating all of the major joints in the body. We started with the neck, went into the shoulders, really also work to lengthen the side body, right? Because you don't want your discs in your spine to get compressed. So hanging from a bar, or if you have an inversion table, is always good to create length in the spine, but also doing those movements that lengthen the torso help to elongate the spine. They help to improve your posture. And then go the other direction. There's a lot of that like neurological pain that manifests, like sciatica, comes from compression in the discs that press up against the nerves. So if you loosen and create space in the spine between the vertebra, a little bigger with your circles now, you're less likely to have that pain, that shooting pain, that moving pain, that wind in your legs, your arms. And remember, gravity works against us. Just keeps compressing the spine, so we have to work against it. Good, and then go ahead and go down to the knees. Cup the knees with your hands and just make circles. Breathe. Keep your ankles loose as you're doing this. I'm not sure if you can see my ankles. There you go. Ankles are loose. Loose. And then reverse. Bend the knees. Bend the knees. Breathe. And then roll up. Now what you're going to do is you're going to interlace your fingers, and I want to emphasize what's happening with the feet. So when you're here, I know with the sun it might be difficult to see my feet, but what I'm doing is I'm going to be lifting and dropping the heels. So maybe you can see here, yes. So I'm going to be lifting and dropping. Lifting and dropping. And do that a few times, just with the feet. Lift, but do it with control. So it's not that you're lifting and just letting the feet collapse. The lift is very conscious, and the release is equally slow and conscious. So you're lifting. Remember also that balancing not only helps your coordination and to balance the right and left hemispheres of the brain, right? But it also helps with joint stability. So if you've had an injury that you're trying to recover from, it also just helps to sharpen your mental state, your emotional state, believe it or not. It helps to invite or invoke creativity by balancing the right and left hemispheres of the brain. And it helps you be more embodied and more present. So whatever you're doing here, whatever you feel here as you practice, translates into your life. You're at the grocery store. You're very present with the cashier. You're very present as you're driving. You're present with your children, with your partner. This is where it all begins in your practice. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to coordinate this movement with the hands. So as I bring my hands to my chest, my heels will lift up. And you're pressing your heels and your toes together here. So you're going to lift and lift. Up and down. Up and down. Again, up and down. But watch. My heels will drop simultaneous with the drop of my hands. So if I go into the shade here, maybe you'll see a little bit better. As I lift my heels, right? If I'm here, my heels don't just drop and then my hands drop. My hands drop at the same time that my heels drop. So there's a much shorter distance for the heels to travel, meaning the heels have to move a lot more slowly than the hands. So try that again. Lift and slowly drop. Lift and slowly drop. Lift, slowly drop. Lift, slowly drop. Now let's take an extra measure here. So you're going to lift, and you're going to keep the heels lifted. You're going to spiral your hands up toward the ceiling. And you're going to lift your shoulders all the way up to the ears, because what am I trying to do? I'm trying to create space, opening, right? Stay soft in here, but create space, length, extension. Breathe. Now, do not change your heels, just drop your arms. And then you're going to do the same thing. Heels and hands drop simultaneously. So here to here, here to here. Lift, slowly drop. Lift. Stay up on the heels. If you can, get on the very tips of your toes. Press through the balls of your feet. Toes are actually relaxed. You're balancing on the balls of your feet. Shoulders up to the ears. Lengthen the sides of your body. Tuck your tailbone. Breathe. Press the hands up toward the ceiling. Press, press, press. Lengthen more. Lift more. Stay lifted in the heels. Drop your hands. And down. Practice that one. Do it one more time together. Lift. 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 Spiral. Up. Lengthen. Breathe. Lift a little higher. Lengthen. Now see if you can turn. Exhale. Inhale, center. Use the core to stay balanced. Exhale, turn. Inhale, center. Lift. Keep your heels lifted. Now slowly, hands straighten at the same time that the heels drop. Very nice. Shake that up. How was that? little challenging, but this is why the daily practice is going to make such a difference. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take one foot and you're going to lift it up. And the way to really balance on one foot is to not imagine that both of your feet, it's to kind of imagine that both of your feet are still on the ground. So as you shift your body weight, let's say into the right foot, you're going to stay relaxed in your right toes and then lift your left knee up. Breathe. Now if you can, reach back and grab your ankle. And just stay here and breathe. Stretch the front of your thigh. And now I want you to drop your ankle, but don't drop the foot. So keep it lifted. And bring your knee up as high up as you can. So if you can, get your knee up into the chest without collapsing, right? You want to stay lifted. Lift, lift. Relax your toes. The feet that are on the ground, that's on the ground is really soft. Crown of your head lifts. Abdomen firm. And we'll go right into tree pose. You're going to place this left foot inside of your right leg. So not on the knee, not on the front of the leg, not on the back of the leg, just right in the center line. And you're going to press the heel, because that's where you're going to get your balance. You're going to press the heel and resist by pressing this leg back into the heel. If you're not balanced, it's okay. Every day is different. If this is too much, your foot is going to come down. And you're going to just place the foot on the ground with the heel touching the ankle. This is the beginner, right? If you're here, you come all the way up. Press, resist. One straight line with the body. Interlace your fingers, all but the index finger and the thumb. The thumbs touch together. Here, here. And if you want to go deeper, you can extend. Breathe. Pull in your abdomen. Keep your upper back broad. Shoulders lifting so you lengthen the sides of your body, right? Lengthen a little bit more. And then as you exhale, bring it back. It's also helpful to have a drishti, a gazing point, a point that you're staring at, one that's not moving, of course. You don't want to follow a bug around the room. That'll throw off your balance. Or your kids. Okay, when you're here, hands to the heart. We're going to reverse out the same way we went in. So you're going to bring the knee into your chest. Roll the ankle a little bit. Take it back, stretch the thigh. Do what you can. Relax the shoulders. And then release. Shake that out. And the hand position again when you do tree pose is here. So you're interlacing all except the index and the thumb does not fold. The thumbs just rest. Right here. Trying to get you out of the sun. There you are. And when I extend, it's all the way out. Okay, that goes above my head. So let's try the other side. First, just put your weight right through the center line of your body, then shift all of it into the left leg without losing awareness of the other side. Right? So when I'm here, I'm able to pick this up kind of effortlessly. Practice that. So first, just pick up the foot. Or just place it here and just be on like the toenails. So you're working with your balance. Find a point on the ground that's not moving. Focus your gaze on that point. Relax the toes of the standing foot. And then bend. Stretch the thigh. Relax the shoulder. Breathe. You want to make sure there's no tension in anywhere of your body where you don't need it. Meaning your face is soft. Your breath is deep. That's essential that you're breathing throughout the entire course of the posture. Toes relaxed. Fingers relaxed. Good. And then if you can, remember you don't have to hold all the way back here. You can still keep this foot down. But if you can, bring the knee up. And if you're here, that's fine. Just hold there. If you can go deeper, pull the knee all the way up to your chest. Point the toes. Broaden the chest so you're tall. You're not collapsing, right? Get strength from here, the core of your body. Pull it in. Zip it up. Lift the crown of your head up. Breathe. Now you're going to kind of sweep that knee out. Then you're either going to put the foot on the ground, ankle against the opposite ankle. I'm sorry, heel against the opposite ankle. Still stay straight. You can place it against the calf too, but I want you to avoid the knee. No compression on the knee. If you can, bring it all the way up into the inner part of the thigh. There's kind of this little cavity in here. If you press with your hand, you want to dig the heel right into that space. Yeah, that's where you'll get the best balance. Now, push this leg back. So I'm not letting myself collapse here, right? Push the leg back, give it a little more support. Now with the hands, interlace all but the index finger and thumb, hands at the chest, and then extend. Push the knee out, zip up the abdominal muscles. Focus your gaze, take 3 breaths. Bring your hands back. Release the interlocked hands. We're going to go out of this the same way we came in. So the knee comes forward. That's part of it too, training your muscle memory. Where were we before this? That's right, we went back. Or the foot is on the ground as a modification. A breath. Be present. It's okay if you didn't balance well today. There's always tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. And then release. And shake it all out. Shake everything out. And let's just really ground the energy. So inhale and exhale. Feeling your body in this space. Inhale and exhale. And I want you to energetically feel movement up the spine as you lift your arms with your in-breath, and down the front of your body as you exhale. Good. And then just keep your arms out to the sides today and just relax. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through your mouth, letting go of any tension that may have accumulated from those practices. Relax your jaw, relax your face. Feel your feet in the earth. Keep your eyes open slightly. Just feeling your body in the space in which you're standing. What is your relationship with the space? Swaying forward and back, side to side, always attempting to find balance. A space where your body can just rest. And let's take a nice long deep breath. And carry this sensation, this feeling in your mind and body and emotions. Move with this state of balance into the rest of your day or evening, wherever you are. Thank you so much for practicing with me. It's an honor to be here with you. Namaste. And if you're still here, I want you to write down in the comments for me which of these practices helped you feel more balanced. And if none of the practices helped you feel more balanced, but brought up just how imbalanced you really feel right now, I want to hear about that as well. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Make sure to leave a comment below.